We had the Dark Order take on SCU, and we also had our opening match of the night, which was Private Party taking on the Lucha Bros. And this opened up the show. We didn't get no intro, no pyro, nothing like that. They just went right into the action last night and opened up with this tag match. So, what did you think of this tag match, Dave? Where we saw the Lucha Bros defeat Private Party. You kind of had to figure that this was possibly going to happen, seeing what we saw last week, where the Lucha Bros came out and attacked SCU, kind of setting up a foreseeable feud between the two tag teams. And then last night we saw the Lucha Bros win. I enjoyed the match, but I felt like in my opinion, thought the Private Party should have won over the Lucha Bros. I do see why AEW went with that route of going with the Lucha Bros, but I really felt like the Private Party is really over with the crowd right now. They should have went that route, but they went the other way. What did you think of the match, Dave?
It was. I know this is the tag title tournament, but man, this did not feel like a freaking tag match at all. I mean,
Okay.
it did not. It was just, there was no, I know they said, oh, it's like Lucha Rules.
Mm-hmm.
That works better where they go in and out, but even JR said during this, like, well, that kind of makes sense. Shouldn't they be tagging or doing something? But yeah, this was just back and forth, spot to do a spot to do a spot to do a spot. And didn't they kind of spoil their own tournament already by having the Lucha Bros attack Christopher Daniels and Kazarian? Didn't they just basically spoil the whole thing by doing that? Because how, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, in a way they did, but it didn't necessarily still have to go that route of them, winning
But they
the
did.
matches last night. But they did, yes, they did. Both of them did win their matches. Yeah, they did kind of set up themselves for for the Lucha Bros and SCU, the feud. I did like at one point, and I don't know if maybe Jim Ross got confused or
I did too.
if it was a legit kind of playing into the moment where I'm not sure if both of them forgot or one of them forgot who the legal man was. I think they thought it was Phoenix, but it was really Pentagon, and that was what kind of cost them the match last night. It kind of felt like it wasn't like it was planned because Jim Ross sounded like he was confused as hell last night. But what did you think about that? Did you think it was kind of storytelling, or did you think they kind of messed up?
Well, I think the wrestlers, it could have been a mess up, who knows? But I would think they knew what was going on. Maybe the announcers don't, because we've heard for years and years that JR said he never wanted to know the finish to the matches. But, man, look, you know what? Yeah, I kind of crapping on the match because it was basically just a glorified spot fest match. It seemed like like we heard Jim
Yeah,
Cornette say plenty of times, it just seems like everything was just choreographed to death and just jump
yeah,
here, jump there, jump there. But it was a great way, just even though I might not be a big fan of this kind of tag team wrestling, it was a great way to start the show with no entrance music, having them go straight to fighting or wrestling. Nonstop action. Look, it was entertaining. Even if I didn't like the way they're doing it, it was entertaining as hell to watch. Better than I like Rhea Ripley, but over on the other side, they were wrestling. She was wrestling Bianca Belair, and to me, that match just seemed like it felt dead in a way. You know what I mean? Like just the match didn't feel alive like this one did. So kudos to AEW because this match was really action packed, and I thought it was a fun match. It was kind of obvious who's winning these matches tonight, which they kind of screwed over Dark Order, if you ask me.
yeah.
But
We'll get into Dark Order
we'll get there.
next. But Bob Ruski says, "Hey, if you want tags and headlocks, watch that show Tuesday at 6:05." Yeah, good point there. Very good point there.
Or run-ins and disqualifications.
Another good NWA Power Show on Tuesday. We'll touch more on that on Saturday. So I did see Speeds kind of say what you did just right now
Yeah.
about it being a big kind of spot fest. Looked a little bit too choreographed in his taste, and I can see people's gripe about that as well. But overall, I felt like it was an entertaining tag match. Yes, there was a lot of spots where you had the guys just sitting there and waiting for the spot to happen, the backflips off the ropes, the stuff like that. Maybe more time in the ring together. Maybe they'll get it down instead of just being, so obvious. But, to start the show off, the crowd was super into it. I think they were both cheering for both teams. I don't think you could say the crowd was going for one team over the other. But yeah, a little choreographed if you're looking for those old-fashioned tag team matches, that's for sure. And we saw the Lucha Bros move on. So let's get into this next match because I have a gripe about this. I'm sure you will as well. This next match was the Dark Order taking on SCU, still without Christopher Daniels. They did mention on the show that he has a pinched nerve and that he's going to be out up to, I think, 2 months. So he's going to be out for quite some time, and looks like they are really playing up now Scorpio Sky being part of the tag team now. Well,
he is already.
Right, yes, but he wasn't the
like
one that wasn't mainly in the tag matches. It was really Daniels and Kazarian, at least on AEW, at least on AEW.
Yeah.
Well, during this match, Mr. Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle decides to interrupt the match by going into the crowd and going up to their private skybox.
Too sweet.
Yep, and it really, I know I saw a lot of people tweet about it, kind of reminded them of the NWO-esque back in the WCW days where they just walked through the crowd and sat wherever they wanted during the shows. But during this match, it really took away from the match. It was, I don't know if it was smart of them to put this match after the match we got at the start, because the fans, they're different styles of tag team matches that we're going to get from the two different matches. And you could tell that the crowd wasn't as into this match as they were Lucha Bros and Private Party. But what really, really killed the match was when Jericho showed up and walked through the crowd and went to the private suite. Not because it wasn't a cool seeing him walk through the crowd and not give a shit, but the crowd automatically panned towards him. You could tell on TV that the crowd didn't give no more shits about what was going on in the ring. All they cared about was Jericho and what was going to happen with him. And I think it really hurt the match very much. The match was still not that bad. I'm not a big fan of the Dark Order yet. I've only seen 2 matches of them, so I really can't really comment yet. But to me, right now, I don't really feel them at the moment. But what about you, Dave? What did you think of the match, and did you think Jericho took away from the match last night?
I need to ask you something first. How do you feel about back-to-back tag matches in a row like that? Because I thought it should have been spread out a little bit more through the night. I don't like we're getting tag tournament match. You should just, to me, maybe they just wanted to get it out of the way. I get it, but you should spread it out a little bit, I think. I don't want them back-to-back like that.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I really don't mind it too much. It was kind of an odd placement, that's for sure, but I didn't mind them having them back-to-back, especially seeing that they are going for the new tag team titles.
I mean, next week we'll get new tag champs, so that'll be interesting. But I think, but yeah, the match, after you go from Private Party and Lucha Brothers, it's so hard to follow that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And on top of that, and no offense to them, they did basically.
Can we talk about how Brandy Rose tried to use the Force to crush the backstage?
That was a tag match. The other match, not so much. And then you go from that high-octane, energy, fun match to kind of a slow-paced, kind of boring match. And then Jericho and them basically come out and just almost kind of bury your tag team final match to get for the titles next week. I mean, they kind of buried it a little bit because everyone's saying, "Oh, what's Jericho and them doing? Oh, what are they doing? And why are they here?" And it kind of took away from him. Look, to me, they made it obvious, and they kind of screwed Dark Order over big time because you have them win a big match. What was it at All Out or one of these shows?
Yeah, well, they got the bye in the tournament.
Yeah, and they got a bye for what? For no reason, just to end up... It meant nothing, because they just end up losing to SCU, and then, boom. Now it's going to... Which was obvious after they attacked Daniels. Now it's going to be SCU versus
Dave,
the Lucha Brothers for the tag titles next week. So it's kind of all over the place with that.
Thank you there, Spees, for the bits, who says, can we talk about how Brandy Rose tried to use the Force to crush the backstage interview score? Oh, my God. We're gonna get that. I had to post your gift that you sent to me. That was hilarious, man. And I couldn't believe what we saw there. But yeah, looks like Jericho kind of took away from that match. Definitely, I didn't really care for the match. I'm glad SCU won, and Lucha Bros and SCU will face off next week for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. And the winners will be presented with the tag team titles from the Rock and Roll Express. So I'm guessing at Full Gear, the Rock and Roll Express will be taking on the winners of that match, right, Dave?
Probably.
I'm just playing.
Oh, you sure that's the Rock and Roll Express? I thought it was the Young Bucks using the aging app again.
Oh my god! Wow. Yeah, that was awful. I felt bad for those teams. The crowd gave zero fucks once Jericho showed, says Speeds. Who are the Dark Order, says Kokina.
I don't know much about them either.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it have been cooler if the Young Bucks were still in this and you have the Rock and Roll Express handing the Young Bucks the tag titles?
Yeah, who cares? I don't.
I mean, because do the Lucha Brothers? I mean, will they really even know or care if they win the titles that the Rock and Roll Express are giving them the titles? I mean, so
they did do a video package on the Dark Order, but it was weeks ago. It was a while back. I think a refreshment would have been nice of a little bit more of explaining, like Mr. AEW said. They need to explain a little bit more about the Dark Order.
And it went long too.
Absolutely, Marion Watson. Street Profits over Private Party. And how about that Monday Night Raw episode? One of the best Monday Night Raws we have seen.
I just
had to throw it out there. I'm sorry. I just had to throw it out there. One of the best main events we've seen in about 10 years on WWE television. What a main event. What a match. Woo! All right, let's continue. I'm sorry about that. I apologize.